What is up, everyone? What is up? How's everyone doing? I hope everyone is having a wonderful Tuesday afternoon. It is myself and my boy Pete with those PINCHE VATO'S come together again and talk some 49er football. We're going to have a conversation, not the conversation that we wanted to have, but nevertheless, we're going to have a conversation. Pete, how you doing, and how you dealing with this loss?
I'm good. We were just talking off air, and it's one loss, and that was probably the best defense that we're gonna play, even in the playoffs this year. And so, I mean, it's better to get it out of the way now.
Yeah, absolutely. I never want to lose. Period. I want to
Yeah,
always be on the winning side, but sometimes you do have to come back to earth and realize that you got to put 100% effort in each and every game. It was a good game. I know a lot of people and a lot of haters want to go off on Brock Purdy. Finally he threw an interception. He lost his first starting regular season game as a starter, and blame him for this and blame him for that. But what I saw, bro, is at the end in the fourth quarter, he moved the ball pretty well and got them in the position to win the game by a field goal. Unfortunately, Jake Moody missed the 41-yard field goal, but Brock Purdy did what he had to do, in my opinion, to get him to that point. And don't forget, we lost. We were fighting against losing Debo before the half. We lost CMC. And then we were playing not only the Browns, but we were playing the referees with some bull crap play calls. And I understand we don't want to blame the referees for this. We don't know. But come on, man. That hit by Gibson was not a penalty. And for them to call that is just... And wasn't that the series that allowed them to get an extra 3 points, which was an issue to beat us?
they called a hold on Mooney Ward too, that wasn't a hold. They showed it on the replay, and he didn't even grab the guy's jersey. Like, they just called it, like, for no reason. So it was two really bad calls. But in the same breath, if you really look at the situation, the 49ers should have never been in those positions to begin with. And I talked about it on my show yesterday. Here's the deal. I hear a lot of people saying that, 49ers should, including the 49ers, they shouldn't have won that game. They didn't deserve to win it. They absolutely should have won that game. Not just because of the refs. They had more than one, more than two, more than three opportunities to put that game away. And they just couldn't get it done, but they should have won the game. There was no reason to lose the game. Am I okay with the loss just because a team is going to get a loss in the season? I mean, the odds are they're not going to go undefeated, and we got to get the loss like that out of the way now. Absolutely, but at the same time, I don't want to give them any excuses. They should have won that game.
You're right. You're right. They should have won that game. They had every opportunity. The offensive line of the San Francisco 49ers could not really protect against that defense. That defense is a very good defense. Probably, like you said, probably the best defense we're going to face all year. That plays our type of offense. Everything is matchups. It's scheme. And that defense is set up to play offenses like ours. And it was raining. It was ugly weather. It was windy. And both offenses didn't play good. But unfortunately for Cleveland, they played a little bit better than we did. And the Niners have to go back to the drawing board and figure stuff out. They got to figure out, okay, what did we do wrong? Could we have played better? I mean, they got a few interceptions. Warner and I believe Lenore got one. But they just weren't enough. Now, on the bright side, defensively, The debut of Randy Gregory was pretty damn awesome. He made he affected the game right away. Going forward, how do you think this kid's going to do opposite of Bosa? Did you see enough to get you excited, even with the loss, that this kid can be special on this defense?
I mean, I'm absolutely excited about it. Like, I mean, this defense is already really good, but to add a guy like that on the team that can get it done, literally, all the offense has to do. If the offense would have scored 20 points, they would have won. Like, that is a very low bar, like for the offense. I mean, for any offense, for any team, all you got to do is score 20, and you probably got the win. And that was against, like I said, the best team, the best offense or the best defense that we're probably going to face. And the offense just needed to make some plays that it just wasn't able to make. And we talked about the weather and everything. And Brock, it looked like, was struggling to with his accuracy. Not just, I don't want to give him the entire excuse that it was raining, because it wasn't like really raining, but
Yeah.
the question is are the elements going to be really that big of a deal for Brock? And that's because if it's just a little wind and rain, like it was like that, and Brock was that inaccurate and fumbling the ball, and the ball slipping out of his hands when he's throwing multiple times, is that going to be a thing going forward? Like, because they're going to have to play another bad weather game eventually. I mean, if they're playing in January.
Yeah. And that when the ball got away from him, I never really focused in the past, but I don't know. Was it me? Was that football bigger than usual, or his hands looked small when that ball got away from him? Because it looked like, holy crap.
Yeah, they were talking about it on Locked On with BD Peacock and Eric Crocker, and they were talking about his. Apparently, he has 9 1/4 inch hands, and which is kind of small for a quarterback. It's not below the I guess the threshold of like can't do it, absolutely can't do it, is 9 inches. Pause, but like, but it's just I think that he's gotten this far with his hand size. Like they've got to figure out a way for him to be able to be effective in inclement weather. Like, I mean, that's you can't like eventually can't. I mean, if this really is a thing, then Kyle's gonna have to find a way to scheme around it. Like, but yeah, that's gonna be an interesting thing, because they said the same thing about the quarterback for Pittsburgh. He
Yeah.
has really small hands,
Pickett? Yeah.
and yeah, Pickett. They said but he was able to throw in like the snow and like and all that kind of stuff. So there's got to be things that they can do to get him a better grip on the ball. But the ball was obviously slipping out of his hands, multiple throws. And like I said, I don't want to give him excuses like that. I think you have to figure it out. But I think at a certain point it got in his head, and he was kind of overthinking,
Yeah.
like kind of overcompensating for that, for the ball slipping out of his hands, and that can affect your accuracy as well. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I want to ask you, as you know, Debo went down. He's day by day. CMC has an oblique for running back when he has to make those cuts. It looks like most likely he's going to be out for a week or two. Are you concerned going forward without Debo or CMC or both, that this offense is going to not be as efficient as it has been? Or do you have trust in like someone like Mason and Elijah Mitchell to come in and at least for a game or two step up and do what they got to do to help us win?
honestly, I think this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for a guy like Mason, who I have been on board with since last year, and I've thought that he's needed more carries. And this is a guy that runs with tremendous amounts of anger and violence, and I just want to see it. And I would love, but from what I understand, Elijah Mitchell is probably going to be the guy if CMC doesn't play. But I mean, they went to an NFC Championship and they've gone to a Super Bowl without CMC. So let's not act like we cannot do it without him. He is not the end all be all, I believe, for this team. Debo, I mean, Debo's kind of another story. Like to have them both out, like and just be with Brandon Ayuk and Kittle. I mean, Kyle's gonna have to figure out a way to get Kittle involved. Kittle didn't even get a target. Like
Yeah.
that's not that should not have happened.
I think he was targeted
Like
once, but
he might
that's
have been
it.
targeted once. But I mean, even if it was only one target, like CMC went out like what, not even halfway through the game. And then what's it called? Debo was out early. So I mean at that point, it should have been Kittle should have been a main focal point. And I feel like they're using him so much as a blocker that it's kind of negating his effectiveness as a pass catcher.
Yeah, yeah. The way that defense was penetrating and getting, just getting all over Brock's face, I saw why Kittle wasn't able to become more available as a tight end. All I heard from people that the Browns linebackers they're not as good. Teams tight ends have their day with that type of linebacking crew, but when you got Myles Garrett, you got number 55, Zadarius Smith coming at you, and you got even the guy in the middle, number 95 or 6, whatever his number was, he was caving in the pocket. And I couldn't believe when I saw who gave up the most pressures and who gave up the least pressures by the offensive line. Do you know which offensive lineman gave the least amount of pressures, Pete?
I'm gonna guess and say it was McKivitz.
Yep.
Yeah, because it wasn't the right side. I mean, Garrett was just beating on Trent Williams like a drum. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
he was.
This is the thing: Trent Williams he got hurt early, and he was overcompensating. He admitted it after the game. He was not in a good spot. Like, but there was one play in particular that I'm thinking of where, I mean, that guy Garrett just threw him out of the way.
Yeah.
and you don't really see Trent just manhandled like that, but that guy is a monster of a man. And Trent spoke to it because they asked him, if playing Bosa in practice prepares him for that matchup, and he said, "I don't think you can prepare for that guy." I mean, Bosa is like 250 pounds. Garrett's like 280, 285, 290.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Like, so. Yeah, I just think that Trent had a bag. He rolled his ankle early, and it makes it hard to keep your anchor, and he didn't want to get injured any more than he was. So you're gonna overcompensate. But yeah, I don't think Zadarius Smith was really that much of a factor. I think that I thought that the offensive line actually didn't do too bad compared to considering who they were going up against. And Brock had open guys, and he was seeing the field. He just couldn't hit guys. Like, I mean, he had some guys wide open, and he was just, his throws were just off.
And when there were not off throws, I have to admit, Brandon Ayuk did not do Brock any favors by dropping at least 3 balls that should have been caught.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if it hits you in the hands, you got to catch it, especially if you're supposed to be the wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
Like,
we're not talking about Jennings or Ronnie Bell here. We're talking about number 1 receiver, Brandon Ayuk, who's a contract year. So,
yeah, you got to catch those. And when they hit you in the hands like that, and I saw people talking about the throw wasn't a good throw. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, that's the whole point of you being a number 1 wide receiver, is that if the ball gets near you, you're supposed to you're supposed to want it more than the other guy,
That is
and
correct.
you're supposed to get it. So I don't want to hear that the ball wasn't perfect. There's gonna be throws that aren't perfect. You just need, as a wide receiver one, you need to go out there and get it and make a play.
Yeah, that is correct. And people might say, well, everybody has a bad day. And that's true. But
Yep,
when
that's
you
true.
lose Debo and you lose CMC, a player like Brandon Ayuk, who is a bona fide number one receiver, has to elevate his game. Those are the moments where true leaders, true superstars elevate their game and do things beyond the norm, if you will, because we are lacking in other areas. And he hasn't found a way to do that. Was those passes great? Probably not. But if it hit you in the fingers or close in the vicinity of your hand, you should try to catch those balls. And three of them. I understand if he missed one, but three of them at crucial moments of the game wasn't good. But I do believe the whole team as a whole lost that game. I love what Fred Warner said, and I love that he didn't put the pressure on his rookie kicker. Should he make the kick? Yes. Was it a pressure moment? Absolutely. People tend already to forget he's a rookie. He will get better.
Yeah.
He'll learn how to become more sure of himself going forward. But he missed it. He missed it. And not only that, it wasn't like he was short. The wind moved it. He just didn't adjust himself to the wind as good. I mean, I forgot somebody brought up a chart of the direction of the ball and the length of the ball and then the wind, how much the wind moved it to the opposite side. And don't forget, even though the kicker for the Browns made it more, he missed a kick as well. And he kicks in Cleveland in that weather. So we'll get better. Hopefully they can get back to the drawing board. Hopefully Kittle and CMC can get healed up. We're facing the Minnesota Vikings on Monday night. We know that Kirk Cousins is not when you turn on the lights, he kind of goes away in the shadows. He's playing without Jefferson in the lineup. Is this a perfect time to face the Vikings coming off a loss and then playing a team that doesn't play good on prime time and they're out their best receiver?
I don't think there could be a better time to play them. Without Jefferson on the field, and their defense already isn't good. So this is a perfect what do they call that? Like a bounce back game of just, this is an opportunity for the offense to get going. This is opportunity for the defense to build some confidence and yeah, it's just, it's a perfect bounce back game. Like, we should just be looking at this as a way to just get back into what the 49ers football is. But I spoke on my show about it yesterday. I would like to see them go back to more of a physical style. I feel like this year they've been a little bit finesse and less bully ball. And I would like to see, that's why I would love to see Mason get more carries. I want to see them just kind of bully the Vikings because the Vikings want to play a finesse game. And I would just want to see the 49ers go out there and smack some people around.
Now, when you say finesse, are you particularly talking about the whole team, or are you focused more on that pass rush and that defense? Do you feel that the defense hasn't been the same defense that we're accustomed in watching with D'Amico now that we have the new coordinator?
Other than the Dallas game, I would say that they haven't looked the same. Now we didn't have Greenlaw out there, who is a maniac.
That is true.
And he loves to fly around and hit people. But just overall, I feel like they just have not been as physical, and it's been more about the scheme than it has been about the actual players just bullying guys around. Except for the Dallas game. The Dallas game, they came out, were very physical, and you saw the result. It was, they never took their foot off of Cowboys' neck. But the offense has been, I would say, for the most part, finesse. They've been much more finesse. As much as they get the ball to CMC, They're trying to the drop back game is much more prevalent. They're just taking advantage of it's a lot of bells and whistles, a lot of motion, a lot of it's got to be specific. Um, the execution has to be perfect for them to get some of these plays off, and there's just a lot of eye candy, but it's not a lot of just you're a better player than they are. Just take their lunch money and let's go.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Bringing up the Dallas Cowboys game, Pete, do you think that because the Niners destroyed the Dallas Cowboys 42 to 10, and they gave them a beat down, that might have hurt them a little bit going into the Browns game, kind of like we're the bullies, we're the best team, and they got humbled a little bit. Do you think because they won so big against Dallas on a Sunday night, they might have not gave it 100% all to the Browns?
I mean, they tried to say it all week that they weren't overlooking anybody. They tried to say it, but I don't think it's possible for it not to creep into your mind, and then for you to do get into it with them pregame, on the field. I just I think they were feeling themselves a little bit, and even Kyle said that it was what type of game. This was my thing about what I had a problem with what Kyle said around. He knew that this game was going to be more of a physical smash mouth, like sloppy type of game, but you didn't. But you didn't play call like that. Like it was going to be like that. There was still all the bells and whistles. There was all the eye candy, and it was all the same. Even when they were stuffing it and getting you behind the line of scrimmage, you were still calling the same things. And it never it became about getting back to that physical style and maybe just understanding that that this is going to be a dogfight and you're going to need every yard you can get instead of trying to break the big ones. Um, but yeah, I think that they overlooked the team, even if they don't admit it.
Yeah, I agree. I just wanted to bring out a point that Niners a throwback made, and I tend to agree with him. He says Steve Wilkes is still learning, and I tend to agree with that. I think he's still trying to figure out this defense that he came into with the talent on that side of the ball, and he's trying to figure out his wrinkles, like what because he has his own style, and I understand he's going to run it the way D'Amico ran it for the most part, but he wants to increment his own wrinkles into it and trying to make his defense. Hopefully, we don't take too many losses until you figure it out. I don't mind him figuring it out as long as we're getting dubs. But I think the Minnesota game is going to be a good game to kind of bounce back. Minnesota's not a great team offensively nor defensively. They have Danielle Hunter, yes, but that's only one pass rusher coming our way. We should be able to run against that defense. We should be able to pass even without Debo or Christian McCaffrey. I think the Niners have enough weapons and Kittle, Juice, and what's his name, number 15?
Jennings.
Jennings, thank you, Jennings, and maybe implement a little bit. And we still have Ray in there. So hopefully the Niners will game plan for this team without and allow Debo and CMC to get the proper healing. And I hope they don't rush them back in this game, because the last thing I want to see is them being rushed back and then get hurt and now be out even longer than they would have been. Do you think the Niners, without those two individuals, can beat the Vikings? Are you confident that we can go in there and win that game? I don't care about the score. I don't care if we blow them out or we win by 1 point. But do you think the Niners can go in there minus those two players and win?
Oh, I think so. I think it's going to be a blowout. Like, I think they're going to come in angry. And I think it's going to be, I think we're going to get to see Kyle in rare form in this game coming up. I think he's gonna want to prove a point, and that he doesn't need anything or anybody. I mean, he's been scheming guys open he was scheming guys wide open when they had Kendrick Bourne and Emmanuel Sanders and all those guys that they had in 2019. But so yeah, no, I think that he's absolutely going to scheme it up, and I don't think that I you know what I think is that I'm really interested to see how many, and I'm going to bring it up again, how many carries Jordan Mason gets, because to me it's kind of weird that he doesn't want to give that guy the ball more when all he does is get yards. Like it's just it's he was averaging 5.5 yards carry last game when nobody else was doing anything, but he averaged 5.5 yards carry, and he only ended up with like what 5 or 6 carries. I want to say.
The game that he just against the Browns.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know how
he
many
had 5
carries, but I
carries.
know he had like 9. He had a 60 something yards.
Well, he only had 27 yards, but he only had 5 carries.
Oh, I'm
So he
thinking
ended
the
up with five
Cowboys
and a half
game then.
yards. Yeah, the Cowboy game. I mean, he was doing his thing.
Oh, okay.
And but that's the thing is that's the type of back that he is. If you want to get in a physical fight with Jordan Mason, you're probably going to lose. And that I understand that he has other limitations as far as like in the passing game. I've seen a couple of times where he runs the wrong route. But if you're just talking about run between the tackles and even on those inside zone runs, he's your guy. He's your guy. I don't think Elijah Mitchell looks good when he gets the ball anymore. He didn't look good in this last game. I think he had 2 carries for -3 yards. He only got 2 carries, but I just don't I don't know what you're seeing. I don't know if he's gotten over his injury or what, but I'd like to see more, and I'd even like to see TDP over Elijah Mitchell at this point.
Yeah, I'm still a big Elijah Mitchell fan. You know, the show that I did yesterday with Brandon and Dion, we kind of got a little bit of heated discussion, me and Dion from Niner Gang. Shout out to the Niner Gang
What up?
podcast. He's a big fan of Mason. And I told him, don't get me wrong, I love Mason. I think Mason's a great running back, but I'm still in favor of Elijah Mitchell. Now, I understand. I am not naive that he is always hurt and the best abilities of availability, and he has improved that. But I think if both players are healthy 100%, Elijah Mitchell is still the better player than Mason. And we were talking about who should start on Monday night if CMC is not a gun. I'm like Elijah Mitchell, but and I did mention this. It doesn't matter who starts. Starting for the Niners is just like okay,
Yeah.
you get the ball, you get to go out there for the first hike of the quarterback, because immediately the next player can come in and substitute. So it's not like you're the starter and you're going to play for the majority unless you're CMC and you come out for a breather. But I was telling Dion, just because Elijah starts, it doesn't mean you're not going to see a lot of him of Jordan Mason. You're going to see a lot of Jordan Mason. And one thing I do know about Kyle, and he's a creature of habit, he still goes with a hot hand. If he sees Elijah struggling and Jordan's penetrating, then he'll stick with Mason. He likes to go with a hot hand, but he's loyal to his veterans. And right now, Elijah's more veteran than Mason, so I can see why he would start the game. But it's not like Jordan wouldn't be in that game. And I think we need to establish a running game again, especially without Debo and CMC. And I think against the defense that I forgot where they ranked, but they're not good against the run. They give a lot of yards to the running back. So I expect to be a good game. I don't know about a blowout. I'd be interested to see if it is a blowout. I'm not saying it's not possible. I think you're right. I think maybe the Niners and Kyle take their frustration and anger of everything that went wrong in Cleveland and just apply it in Minnesota. And Minnesota's playing us at the wrong time.
Mm.
with something to prove. So we'll see. Defensively, I expect the Niners to really dominate that offense, and I'm not gonna. I said it earlier, and I'm going to keep saying it. I'm really intrigued by this kid, Randy Gregory. I like what I saw. I want to see more of that type of football. I mean, to get a sack in his first game, he had like 3 pressures. The guy led it in every area that he could defensively, and it was his first game. He didn't even start the game, so hopefully he'll be able to be more and do more for us against Kirk Cousins, who does not have a running back anymore, doesn't have their starting receiver. They got a rookie receiver, an Addison, and then they got this second year kind of a backup who is forced to be the starting tailback for them. I just don't see how they're going to be able to put points. But then again, I thought the same thing about Cleveland. I'm like, I don't see Cleveland putting points, and they did enough to put some points on there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. No, Vikings only scored 19 against the Bears this past game. I think that Cousins is not as mobile as PJ Walker. I think that helped him out a ton, but I don't think Cousins is going to have that same option. Like you said, I just don't see this offense scoring a bunch of points against. I think that this defense is going to come out and with a point to prove. And I think the offense is. I think Kyle's going to come out there on fire, just scheming it up. But this is the most frustrating thing about the 49ers and consistently is that they play down to their competition, especially offensively. And I think it's just because Kyle's offense is built to take advantage of the rules of the defense, which means it doesn't matter who their players are. If they have a top 5 defense, it's the same thing as when they're going against a bottom 5 defense. It's not targeting the other team's bad players. It's just taking advantage of the rules of the defense. So it's going to look the same regardless. And it's just all about that other team tackle. And so that's going to be the key to the game is how are Minnesota tackling?
Yeah. Yeah. And remember, they don't have their linebacker. They lost their number one linebacker. I forgot what his name was, but he's not on the team anymore. Hendricks. Yeah, he's gone. He's been gone since last year or this offseason, I should say. So they're definitely struggling over it defensively. We are playing in Minnesota, so we are playing inside a stadium. So a win should not be a factor in this case for Mr. Moody to make his kicks. So hopefully that won't be an issue. Let me ask you, against the Browns, if you can categorize it for me from 1 to 5, going from 5 all the way to 1, who is to blame for this loss? Starting at 5 all the way to 1.
Whew. Starting at 5. I would say starting at 5. I'm going to say Kyle. I'm going to say Kyle at starting at 5. And I think that his game plan could have been a little bit different. I didn't like a lot of the play calls, especially in the second half. And then I'm going to go number 4. I'm going to go Ayuk with the drops. And then 3. 3, I am going to go with the refs. I know that that's not a part of the team, but I'm blaming them.
It looked like they were part of the Browns team for sure.
No kidding. And then number 2, I would say, because it's a toughie between number 2. I'm gonna say, man, that's a hard
maybe
pick. Because number 1, I guess number 2 would be the injuries to Debo and CMC, and then the last one would be just Purdy not being able to grip the ball. and like missing so many wide open passes. Like, because I mean, as good as his defense was, like he had time to throw the ball and hit some wide open guys, and he just missed them. So, yeah, like I mean, I've got to give it to Purdy.
I'm with you, and those are great choices. At the end of the day, we lost, and an L's an L, and there's no
Yep.
overturning it. But if there's a silver lining, and in this game was that, Brock Purdy did miss some questionable calls. He did throw the ball overthrown a few other receivers. He wasn't accurate as he normally is, but I have to go back to the fourth quarter towards the end when he was able to drive that offense enough to give his kicker the opportunity to win the game on a 41-yard field goal, which is about, 81% kickers make those 41-yarder. So it's not like it was a 65 or a 60. It was a 41. And he was able to move the ball. He was able to get it to Ayuk. And even though Ayuk was dropping balls, he stepped up as well. I would want to call it the 2-minute drill. I don't know if they were under 2 minutes, but maybe they were. But they were able to maneuver and move the ball and call the right plays and execute. And to me, Brock Purdy faced adversity, fell behind, went through all the injuries of Debo and CMC, went through the back calling of the referees making back calls, the back blocking of our offensive line. And yet, with all that, with all the craziness that went on Sunday morning, he still was able to get his team up the field with an opportunity for his kicker to make a 41-yard kick and win the game. So did Brock Purdy struggle? Yes. Did he play his best game? Absolutely not. Probably had one of his worst. But when it mattered, when the rubber met the road, he did enough to give us the opportunity to win the game. Unfortunately, the kicker missed it. So I don't put that on Brock. I put it on the kicker. I know he's a rookie. I know, but hey, that's your job. That's what you get paid for. That's what you got drafted to do. It is a lot to ask.
I almost forgot about it.
Yeah, but a third round pick for him. You know what I mean? That means he's the cream of the crop of kickers coming out of college. So Brock did what he had to do to move the offense and get him in position to win. We could be so easily talking about we're 6-0 instead of 5-1, and we could have beaten the Browns if it wasn't for a missed field goal. And I think that Brock did enough to get us to win the game. So I give him kudos for that. I give him flowers. Does he have to play better? Absolutely. Can he keep playing like this? No. But at least I know that this kid is battle tested, and this kid does not, by any means of the imagination, fall under pressure. He does not allow pressure to get to him. He doesn't get nervous. He doesn't panic. He is as cool, calm, and collective, whether they're 30 points ahead or 30 points behind. This kid is the same kid, and that's an encouragement to me. He's only going to get better. But you're right. We got to work on the hands, buddy, especially when it's raining. That ball can't be slipping out of your hands like that and like, oh, shit, where did the ball go? Now, I give him credit that he was smart enough and aware enough to recover his own fumble. But, at the end of the day, the Niners played a bad game, and they still had the chance to win the game by a missed kick.
There was some more things that we could have mentioned, like the penalties, the constant penalties by both sides, the defense and the offense. But it's specifically by the offense, they kept digging holes. Like they would start off 1st and 20, then it would end up 3rd and 20. Like it's just that the execution wasn't there, like the discipline wasn't there. I mean the kick. I just had a brain fart and just forgot about the kicker. But there was just so many things that you could point to in this game. It was the epitome of a complete team loss, and But yeah, no, I completely agree with you about the kicker. I wasn't fond of the pick to begin with. I'm gonna keep saying it because I just think that you don't do that.
You're a Michigan
You
fan.
don't do,
Remind the people that
yeah,
you
and I'm a
love blue.
Michigan fan, but you don't pick a kicker third in the third round. Like you just don't do it. And this is why. It's not because he's not a good kid and he couldn't be a good kicker down the line, but the reality of the situation is that kicking the kickers, it's all percentages. It's all numbers. And he's gonna miss kicks. He's gonna miss kicks. So what's the point of bringing in a rookie kicker who hasn't had the opportunity to get battle tested when you've got a Super Bowl ready team? If we end up losing in the playoffs because of a rookie kicker, like I'm gonna be I know I as a fan I'm gonna be very upset because they have a ton of cap space right now. Like they could have easily have just brought Robbie Gold back, and they didn't. They still chose not to. They had a perfect opportunity to put Moody like when he was looking bad in the preseason. And I know that everybody's going to say, "Oh well, he hadn't missed a kick up to this point." Okay, but then he did, and it cost us a game. So just keep that in mind when we're getting into the playoffs. It's not just going to be a foregone conclusion that he's just going to be automatic. Like I know that I'm going to be holding my breath when he kicks in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, to the point, I'm with you to the point where he did cost us the game. I don't know, but I know a lot of people, especially this week on Twitter, are but like, they're playing songs. Come back to to San Francisco, Robbie Gold for that contract for $5 million. Robbie Gold, in my opinion, can stay retired. I'm confident in the kicker that we have. Did I enjoy that miss? No. But I'd rather him get those misses out of the way early than do it in the playoffs. Maybe this pressure. Now, if I see it more consistent, like in the, maybe not this Monday night, but in another game, maybe against Cincinnati, he gets the opportunity. We come close and he misses it again. Then I'll start leaning more where I'll probably call Robbie Gold myself. But off of one miss, I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He got picked, even though I understand you don't agree with taking a kicker in the third round, and that is kind of high, but he is the best of the crop of the kickers coming out. So hopefully he can watch the film, understand the pressure that it is in the NFL, and make the proper adjustments. And it was a windy city, and the wind was strong, so maybe he needs to learn how to judge those winds. In pro football. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He needs to get better. If he's like that in a few more games or he does it in the playoffs, that I'll be talking a different conversation. But we still got to look for a future. And, Robbie Gold at $5 million, I know we have the money, but I'm a, what do you call it, stingy guy. The more money I have, the more I want to save. I don't want to spend just because I have it, unless I need to. And if I can get a bargain, I'll always take the bargain over the full price, whether I have the money to pay for the full price or not. And I think that we're getting a bargain with Moody. Let's just hope that he doesn't keep us in a bad mood by keep missing games. This whole game was terrible. This whole game was for shits. Everybody played bad. We had an off Sunday, and yet we came 41 yards of winning the game and being 6-0. I think this team is experienced enough. They're gonna bounce back. They're gonna self-examine themselves, and they're gonna pull out the best. Maybe they were at a point where sometimes you let your ego come in and we're the best. Nobody can beat us. We're scoring 30. Maybe this awakening call. I don't know if you remember, Pete, but in the '94 Super Bowl run, if I recall, the Niners got their ass kicked 40-8 by the Philadelphia Eagles, and they even pulled out Steve Young by George Seifert, and then they went on and did not lose a game after that at all the way to the Super Bowl and won it. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen this year, but sometimes you need that slap in the face to remind you, if you don't get your shit together, if you're not laser focused, if you downplay or overlook any opponent, this is what's going to happen. And maybe their perspective changes. Hopefully it will change, and they'll have, no matter who they play, they got to look at them like they're it's the playoff time.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I mean, I don't know if they had a rookie kicker that year, but but I would say
I want to
that
say yes, but I'm not
they
sure.
they did not have a rookie kicker. 94?
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up. And if you're right, then
we're
gonna
sure.
We're gonna come full circle. Like, but yeah, this is the thing. I think that we have a great team. I think the 49ers have a great team. And it's just about, and we talked about it, I think on maybe last week, it's just about staying healthy. It's just about staying healthy. This team staying healthy, staying together, understanding the goal, and there's gonna be bumps. There's gonna be adversity. Like, it's just about not making wholesale changes. You still do the same things. You just learn from your mistakes. And they could, if they would have just made just 2 or 3 less mistakes in this game, they win. And there was enough blame to go around to everyone that literally we just need everybody to execute. And if they execute, for this team, there's not many teams that can deal with them.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add, the Niners couldn't tackle for shit on Sunday. That defense couldn't tackle. They were missing a lot of tackles. I understand we were missing Greenlaw. Okay, but Ertz needs to step up. Oren Burke needs to step up. I keep forgetting the other guy's name, the other linebacker, number 45. He needs to step up as well. And we can't just leave it all for all pro Fred. Now, Drake
Flanagan
Greenlaw.
Foles.
Yes. For those who don't think how important Greenlaw is, you saw it on Sunday how important what kind of important role he plays defensively. And we gave up a lot of yards in the run game, and we just couldn't tackle. That needs to be addressed. We can't have that going forward. Just because we don't have Greenlaw, they got to tackle better. And I just did not like the tackling of this team. But one thing I do like, and I continue to see every week, Lenoir, to me, this is my opinion, is the number one corner on this defense. He is way better than Ward. I love the way he's playing. Yeah, I love the way he's playing. This kid is only getting better. So I'm excited to see how he continues to develop. As we're getting closer to our, I want to ask you, the trade deadline, I think, is the end of this month, if I'm not mistaken. Before the trade deadline, do you think we should go after a corner? Or do you feel comfortable with our corner? And now that we got Gregory, and if he continues to play as we saw, do you think we're pretty set defensively?
No, I mean, I think if you can go get somebody, you go get them. Like, I think that if you can get somebody and not have to give up the farm for it, I think you go ahead and you do it.
Now, who would that be?
You only have you've got Jalen Johnson out there for the Bears. You've got Patrick Surtain has been rumored multiple times. Like, there's some guys out there that are on really bad teams, and they across from Charvarius Ward, they would be world beaters. And I think Jalen Johnson would be perfect he's a very physical corner. I think he'd be really good. And then you could move Lenoir into the slot. And that would clean up a lot of things, I think. And I like Lenoir. But I think that I think Mooney Ward really earns his money when we have to go up against the DK Metcalfs and the DeAndre Hopkins and like the bigger name wide receivers. those are the guys that he really excels at going against. Where he struggles is when they ask him to play off coverage, and he's not a good zone corner. And when they ask him to go against those smaller, quicker wide receivers, that's not his thing.
No, he's
His
better off
thing is,
man when he plays
yeah,
man.
he's good when he gets to get his hands on you and play man to man. And like, I don't understand. I don't understand why all the off coverage. I'm still like, it still bugs me. But like, but either way, I think Mooney Ward is still playing pretty solid. I think did he have a couple of gaffes? Yeah, of course. Like, but when it comes time, like I said, when DK comes into town, and when some of these other big name wide receivers, you don't worry about them. They're gonna get. He's gonna break them off. Like they're not gonna do anything that day against Mooney.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. You know, like I know a lot of people want Surtain to come from Denver, but the guy, listen, you bring a corner at that quality on his last year contract, a rookie contract, you're gonna have to pay him, which means there goes Brandon Ayuk. Bye bye. So I don't know if you can bring in a player like that for a 1 year rental and give up a lot of capital to get a 1 year rental. I understand we want to win the Super Bowl, and as bad as I want to win a Super Bowl, I do, but I don't want to mortgage the future in doing so either. I want to be relevant each and every year. I might get crucified for this. I'd rather not win the Super Bowl this year and be consistent than win it all and not win nothing for the next 3 or 4 years. Some people feel different. I'd rather be consistent every year and win 10 plus games and enjoy games every season than enjoy one Super Bowl for one season. We did it. And then for the next couple of years, we suck. I want to get your thoughts. Do you kind of agree with me, or are you the opposite? You want to win it now. You don't give a crap what happens after.
In this situation, I think about 94 again, and their 1 year rental of Deion Sanders, and it got them a Super Bowl. They were still relevant after. I don't think this is not going to make them. They're not going to be relevant.
But we haven't won one since.
If it's a rental. Well, that's true, but we've been consistently. But they were consistently good after that until they weren't, and then like you said, it's about being consistently good and in the mix, right? I still think that they'll be consistently good, even if it is a 1 year rental. I don't think that they would have to give up a ton for Jalen Johnson. That's why I like Jalen Johnson so much. I think that they definitely wouldn't have to give up a first round pick for him. So,
yeah, and I'm good for that. If we'd have to give up a number one pick, there's a kid, I can't think of his name. He's a corner that can play safety as well with Carolina. He's not that big name, but he's very, very good.
J.C. Horn?
No, not J.C. Horn. No. The one that plays opposite of him. Can't think of his name, but this kid is good. You can play him at safety. You can play him at corner. The kid's good. I would love to see him come over. Someone like him. I know a lot of people want Burns to come over, but he's going to demand too much again in the trade. People want Chase, but how much is they're going to want for him? So I understand there's big names out there and they sound flashy and they sound good. Bring this player, bring that player, but you got to look at it also as a business side of it. Like, okay, who can we bring to make the team better, but yet not cut ourselves at the feet either, where we can use that number one next offseason to maybe go after a player that we need going forward. So they're out there. You just got, a lot of us are just familiar with the big names. Okay. Because if I asked the panel, if I asked everybody who's watching, who knew about Brock Purdy before Brock Purdy coming to the Niners? A lot of you probably say, I don't know who he was. A lot of you probably
did.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I mocked him. I mocked him to the Niners multiple times, and I've got tweets to prove it.
Okay.
Like I mocked him like in the 7th round as the last pick.
Really?
Oh yeah, like I've got mocks to show it.
No, I believe you, bro.
Like,
I'm pretty sure you're just not gonna make that
but
up.
who put me on? But who put me on to him prior to it was because I'd heard Jesse doing a show, so I looked into it, and I looked into him, and I was like, I really liked what I saw. I really liked what I saw from. I mean, we're talking about the last pick of the draft. I thought that they would pick up a quarterback late in the just as a third string guy, and it was between him and there was another guy that I was looking at, similar type of guy, like but
The kid that went to the Browns from UCLA, what's it name? DT
no,
something.
he was gonna. I knew he was gonna go earlier than the
Okay.
7th round, like the DTR or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but no, there was. I'd have to look back at my mocks, but like, but there was another.
Oh, but
I was
he came out this
fluctuating.
offseason. Never mind. Brock Purdy came out the season the
Yeah,
offseason
I was
before.
fluctuating between Brock and another. There was these two guys that I kept doing mocks, and it was either one or the other. Like that, I kept picking last, but I knew that I wanted a quarterback that last pick.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you know that Brock Purdy was going to play the way he has been playing?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, at least you're honest.
Yeah,
Some people
come
are
on.
like, I knew. I'm
No.
like, shut up. The Niners didn't even know. They knew
Yeah, no,
enough
nobody knew.
to keep
I
him.
pick. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Like it was a mock draft, and I knew that I wanted an extra quarterback. I thought he had a lot of experience, and he was one of those guys that he's fun to root for.
Yeah, he is.
So
Unless you hate him, then no. But
yeah, which I don't understand.
yeah,
But
yeah.
to speak to somebody, what somebody said in the chat, did you know that the 49ers did have a rookie kicker in 94?
We did, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Doug
That's
Bryan.
what I thought. Brian, something O'Brien, something Brian or
Doug Bryan.
Doug Bryan. Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Did he play? It shows that he played 16 games. Like, but he only had 5. He was like 5 of 6.
Bro, our
Like,
defense.
how do you only
our
have?
offense was so damn good, bro. That we were scoring touchdowns more than field goals, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why he didn't come up in the stats as much. We were kicking so many touchdowns. I mean, against the Chargers, I don't know if you remember, but the announcer's like, in about a minute and a half, we already had like 3 touchdowns, and the announcer's like, I'm for rewinding and starting the game over again, because in a few for minutes we already had 3 touchdowns against the Chargers. So, I don't think we needed to rely on him as much as we probably need to rely on this kicker. But I had a feeling, I forgot that it was Brian, but I had a feeling that we had a rookie.
And he was a 3rd round pick.
Was he really?
Yeah. And he was a 3rd round pick.
I wonder how many of the kicks did he miss.
They traded him the next year.
Wow, only for 1 year?
Yeah, he was only with us for 1 year, and then he went to New Orleans.
New Orleans. Okay, that's right. I don't know.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's 94, man. It's hard to remember everything that happened in 94. But listen, guys, we'll find out on Monday night. Remember, it's Monday Night Football. We're going to see a demeanor of the 49ers. We're going to see how the 49ers come out from the get-go, how the play calling is called to the execution of the play calling, how the defense comes out and plays. I want to see a hunger. I want to see maybe you're right. Maybe just winning Minnesota's not good enough. We have to demolish them in a way where we have to make a statement. You know what? We are awoke. We have been awoke, and we're going to play good for the remainder of the season. You're probably right. I don't know if I can handle winning by 3 points. I think the Niners should make a statement, and I think they will.
Yeah,
one way or the other. I just hope it's a better statement than a bad one.
He went 15 of 20. I was looking at it wrong. But
15 out of
but either
20?
way. Yeah, I think that the 49ers need to not leave it up to the kicker.
No, of course
because
not.
This is the thing. I get that they won and they had a kicker, He kicked 75% of his field goals, and he got progressively better. Well, no, not really. He got worse as the years, a couple of years went on, and then he skyrocketed and was in the 80s to 90s for the rest of his career. But that's what I'm talking about, is that when you have a rookie kicker, like he's not, the odds are is he's not, it doesn't matter where you picked him. Like the odds are is he's not going to be the greatest kicker out of the box. It's going to probably take him a couple of years to find his stride and to get used to the pressure. So I'm just hoping that the 49ers can deal with the ups and downs, because I do feel like there will be. And hopefully, like you said, we just don't leave it up to the kicker. And the 49ers just start they recognize what they did wrong in this last game, and they just come out and take care of business from here on out.
I'm with you. As you guys saw the little thing that I just put down there, make sure to follow my boy. I created your YouTube one. I got to work on your Twitter and Instagram, but as you can see, I got your YouTube. Make sure to follow him on Niners Fanatic Podcast and support my boy Pete. I'm gonna get his Instagram and his TikTok and Twitter going, hopefully by next week. Make sure to follow him. If look in the description below, all the links for Pete are there. If you're not following him, none of those platforms, please make sure to go follow him on all those platforms and support him as he continues to grow on his channel. Pete, we have concluded to an hour. We're going to keep it an hour. We went overboard a little bit. We got our first defeat of the year. Hopefully we'll have something better to talk about next Tuesday at 6:30 when it comes to the Vikings and Niner game. Do you have anything going on your channel the remainder of the week that you might want to mention to everyone?
I'm trying to get on more. It's work is kind of hectic right now, but but I'm gonna try and do another show on Sunday. And what time is the game on Sunday?
It's on Monday night.
It's Monday night. So I'm definitely doing a pregame and and I'll probably do my post game will probably be our show on Tuesday. So, but I'm definitely gonna do a pregame on Monday before the game. Yep.
Sounds good. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in to our podcast. And, we like the name Dos Pinches VATO'S, talking 49er football, two OGs, bringing you the news, bringing you the updates, talking about wins, talking about losses, keeping you guys entertained. Make sure to hit the follow all of us on all our platforms. Make sure to hit the like button. Both channels. We're going on his channel. We're going on my channel as well. So make sure to hit the like button on both channels. Continue to support us. We'll see you guys next Tuesday, if God willing, at 6:30 to talk more football. And hopefully we'll have some better content after a win than a loss.
We will.
All right, Pete. It was always a pleasure talking with you, my friend. And you have a wonderful evening. Everyone in the chat, you guys are the MVP of the video. Appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, God bless and see you next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go Niners. Peace.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.